Today we discuss a very important weeks of trades ahead of round 7. Let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about what the aim of our trades are this week. We are well into upgrade season now, so we should be looking to trade rookies and mid-prices who have no more money to make. One up and one down, bringing in underpriced premiums and getting rookies off field. So shall we start with the trade-ins? Now, I've already got a lot of comments asking me which premium to trade in, so let's get that sorted first. As much as you don't want to hear it, it is team dependent. We need to be fixing up our weakest lines, and I don't know who's in everyone's teams, so you need to figure that out yourselves. For me, it is the back line. But let's go over each line and the best premiums to trade in. I'll talk about some rookies and popular mid-prices after that, starting in the back line. The first players I present is Nick Martin, who I am heavily considering and was going to get last week. Nick is still priced under 100 and very capable of going beyond that, as we have seen with him coming off two 120s in a row. He still has a decent run to come, but what I like the most is his versatility. I am confident that Martin is in the rolling 22, whether it be as a forward or defender. And I can put him in either at any point of the season. It's just a great thing to have. Another player to consider is Lockie Ash, who is now way more expensive than he was at the start of the season, but he may still present value. Ash is priced at about 92 and he's averaging 102 this season. And apart from his 63 in round 2, he's going at over 110, which is crazy good. One that you have to consider. These are probably the only two I'd look at this week, but in the future there are a few other names to keep an eye out for. Sam Flanders is getting very cheap, but he hasn't scored well, so you can't go there yet. Bailey Dale is ridiculously cheap, and he scored 113 last week. Josh Dacos is underpriced, and Luke Ryan is extremely cheap if he bounces back, but it looks unlikely. But now looking at the midfield, I already know I'm going to get heaps of questions about Hewitt, and if you should get him. The answer is yes. He's been good. You can get him. However, we should be targeting underpriced premiums, and I'd question if he's really underpriced or not. I can't see him maintaining his average all year. If anything, he's overpriced. But if you want him, gopher. At the same price, we have a few other guys who I'd rather. First is Nick Dacos, who I still very much recommend getting. Yes, he's already had 2 big scores, but I still think he averages well for the rest of the year. Still priced not far over 100, and if you want to get him later, you will be forced to pay up a lot. So if you want him, I'd be getting him now. Andrew Brayshaw is also still relatively cheap if you want to go there. I like Tom Green as always. I'm just waiting for him to have his patch where he goes big. He's a guy who can put up huge scores, and we haven't seen that yet. The final guy I would consider is Zach Butters after his return. With Rosie playing as a back, Butters should be more successful in the midfield. Rosie will also draw tags, so Butters would be a bit of a pod. And actually, I have one more. Jai Newcomb I got asked about. He's been awesome. I would have gone there last week if it was something I was considering, but you can definitely still get him. 2 118 in a row, and he still has a great run coming up. He has really stood up since day went down. But I will say the same thing I said last week. He's a good pick, but at the same time, I'd rather pay just that little bit more for a Dacos or Brayshaw. Now for the Rucks who I know many of you are concerned about. I'll talk about him later, but if you went down the path of trading, Tom de Koning, these are the guys to consider. Just before, as always, make sure to subscribe. We are getting so close to 1,000 subscribers now, which is amazing. So yeah, just help me out, take 2 seconds and subscribe. That's all. First is Max Gawn, who had a huge second half on the weekend to get to 125. He's priced just over 100, and we all know he's capable of more. He's looking to have a good chance of being a top 2 ruck and would be a good pick. There is also Tristan Xerri, if you don't have him, who finally bounced back. He's insanely cheap compared to where he started the year, but I would wait a week before trading him in. I'd also wait a week if you were considering Briggs, who dropped a stinker out of nowhere. And finally, we have the man everyone wants to know about. Can we trade in Big Todd Goldstein? The answer is yes, you can, but on a few conditions. First of all, we need to see something this week that suggests he's fit and still at the AFL level. He's played 2 games in the VFL so far this year, averaging 96, but he hasn't played for a few weeks now. He's not going to be a smash pick. He'll probably go at 70 or 80 and still carries a lot of risk. What makes him a good option is that if you go down to him, then you will still be able to make a big upgrade somewhere else. Personally, it's not something I'll be looking to do this week. Getting Todd locks you into wasting at least 2 more trades throughout the year on rucks, because I doubt you'll be able to afford going from him up to one of the big guys. So I'd rather a Gawn or Zeri. One I actually don't hate at Rowan Marshall. He's been bad this year and coming off a 50. But I feel like every time he drops a bad score, he bounces back with a huge one. Just saying. And finally to the forwards. I already talked about him, but Nick Martin is still up there as a guy I would try to get. But then there is also Jason Horne-Francis and Christian Petracca, who a lot of people are looking at. In fact, I got the question a few times of which one to go. It's not an easy question to answer. Petracca is the guy who's done it before. He's averaged consistently over 100 for years at a time, including long patches over 110. Horne-Francis is capable of it, but is always inconsistent across the year. Both are priced very similarly, around 900,000, and have both averaged just over 90. They are both capable of an average of around 100 and will both push to be in the top 6 forwards. Members of the channel can see my best 22, but I actually have Rankin ahead of both currently for the rest of the year. If you have started planning for the buys, Horne-Francis has the earliest one, so that's something to consider. If you want Petracca, I'd be going this week. He has Richmond then West Coast, so yeah, if he's a target, now is the time. And then you could pick up Rankin or Horne-Francis later on. Another thing is that this is the first time that Jason has had 3 tons in a row in his career. This could mean one of 2 things. Either that the numbers suggest he won't get another one, or that he's gone beyond anything he's done before and is benefiting from Rosie being out of the midfield. But Rankin, Petracca and Horne-Francis are just so similar. They are all averaging around 90. They are all impact players. They can all average around 100. If you are planning to get them all, then I would go Petracca this week and then get the others in. However, if you can only go one, it's Rankin for me. He's been on track to ton up every game and has been unlucky getting subbed and robbed by the umpires. So he's number 1. Then I guess I go with Horne-Francis ahead of Petracca across the entire year, just because he's spending less time up forward currently, but that could all change. It's incredibly close. I hope that all made sense. Now let's talk about a couple of mid-prices that I got asked about. But with the whole concept of mid-prices, I don't love it. Obviously, we want rookies off field, but mid-prices are risky and require extra trades later in the season. You are upgrading to someone who you still have to upgrade again later in the season. I'd rather an underpriced premium. But if you want to go there, here they are. I got asked about Jasper Fletcher, and to that I say no. He has a decent role, but he's not a natural scorer. He's priced at 70, and that's what he scored on the weekend. I don't like it. Then, in the midfield, I heard a lot of talk about James Worpel. I don't mind this one. Priced at about 75, with an average of 100 in his last 2, despite managed minutes against Port. He also would have been in the 90s against Sydney had he not gotten injured. Now, he did have 13 tackles against Geelong, which is highly unrealistic, and he won't be able to replicate that much. But Day is out, and he's a guy who averaged 97 in just his second season, but he's never gotten back to that again. This could be his year, and even if it isn't, you can hide behind his good run. He will get bulk centre bounces with Day out, but be cautious. He has a very low floor. Then there is also Ned Long. You should have gotten him last week if you want him, but this is probably the last week you can do it. Priced under 60, he's gone at 90 in his midfield role, which is great. Craig McRae said he will be in that role long term, so I think you could expect a high 80s average for the rest of the year. But that's only like 20 points more than a rookie, so I don't know if it's even worth it to pay up. And with that, let's have a look at the rookies who are few and far between. Will White is one, but he's getting expensive. And with me trying to afford upgrades, I'll be looking elsewhere. But he has the lowest break-even at -11. His teammate Matt Carroll is a bit cheaper, averaging 60 and just over 300,000. His break-even is -3. Tunstall is another for the Lions at 260,000, but I would question his job security. It was hard enough for Levi Ashcroft to break into the side. I might look at a few guys who haven't played yet instead. If, of course, they are named, that is. Hugh Boxshall is one. We flagged him in the pre-season, and he's been great in the VFL. He just hasn't been able to break into the Saints' main team. Yet. But if he's named, I'm getting him. There is also Josh Smillie for the Tigers, who was an early draft pick and got injured. He should be ready to play soon. And for trade-outs. It's just fixing up rookies and anyone who is injured, or just not performing like Bergman for me. I can't really tell you the exact guys as I don't know your teams. But the rookies are going to be guys like Trainer, Zach Reed, Christian Moraes, Max Hall. Ones who have enough cash on their heads to make an upgrade, and probably won't have much more cash to make. I'd hold off trading guys like Davidson, who are doing well enough on field. Unless, of course, he allows you to make a huge trade. Moraes and Hall both have break-evens over 50, so I'd recommend it's them who go. But only if you can afford the right upgrade. If you need more money, it's probably Trainer who goes. His break-even is also over 50 after his 2. However, I think you can hold him, and he should score well against the Demons who give up lots of marks. But if he's sub again, he has to go. So I'll go over my trades. Bergman is out. He has to be. And then I'm going Moraes out because I can afford it. I'll give Trainer one more week to bounce back. Then it's Nick Martin who comes in. Currently, I have Hugh Boxshall coming in, but of course he might not be named. I doubt I'll get him if he isn't named, but there's a chance. I can still get to Tunstall, or trade Trainer instead and get Carroll or something. Then let's look at captain options which have been good for me recently. I'm thinking Dacos Feisty on Friday is the way to go. Dawson against the Dockers could be one on Friday as well. I keep waiting for Zorko to bounce back, but he's not showing any signs. But the Saints should be a good matchup. Rosie against North should be good. I'm going Dacos into Rosie, I think, although I am also considering Brayshaw. Then hopefully El Hawley doesn't play, and I can loop between Trainer and Reed, which would be nice. I'll field Lindsay in the midfield. And Ashcroft and Davidson as the forwards. That's all for today.